What if one of the strongest evidence for the existence of God is not philosophy, but history? What if there was a book written over 2,500 years ago that accurately describes the rise and fall of world empires before they ever happened? Not in vague terms, not in general ideas, but in a way history would later confirm step by step. That book is Daniel. Once you understand it, you will never look at history or the world today the same way again. You're watching Discern the Times, where we understand the world through Scripture. Because we're not called to guess the times, but to discern them. Today we begin something foundational. We're going to look at the book of Daniel, why the book of Daniel still matters today. And I want to say this clearly. Daniel is not just a book of stories. It's one of the clearest demonstrations that God is real because it shows His hand in history. Daniel is just not theology. It is evidence. The books in the Bible teach truth. But Daniel does something unique. It reveals the future before it happens. Not in a vague way. It describes kingdoms, power, and events that history later confirms. And that forces us to ask the question, if this book knew the future, who wrote it? Daniel lived during the Babylonian Empire, one of the most powerful empires in history. Israel had fallen. The people were in exile. Everything looked like it was under Babylonian control. But Daniel understood something deeper. Daniel 2:21, he changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. This means history is not random. Leaders don't rise by accident. Nations don't fall by coincidence. God is directing history. Daniel chapter 5 gives us a powerful moment. King Belshazzar throws a feast, a celebration filled with pride. He talks about his self. He takes sacred vessels from the temple and uses them in a drunken display. And then something happens. No one can explain. A hand appears and writes on the wall. Daniel is called in, and he interprets the message. Your kingdom has been weighed and found wanting. That very night, Babylon falls. History confirms this. The Medes and Persians conquered Babylon exactly as Daniel described. This is not symbolism. This is historical reality. And it reveals something critical. When God declares something, history follows. Daniel doesn't just interpret events, he predicts entire empires. In Daniel chapter 2, we see the vision of a statue. Gold, Babylon. Silver, Mede, Persia. Bronze, Greece. Iron, Rome. Each kingdom rises exactly in that order. And Daniel recorded this before those empires existed. This is one of the clearest demonstrations that God knows the future because He rules over it. Daniel chapter 7 verse 14, and to Him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve Him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and His kingdom one that shall not be destroyed. All of these kingdoms rise and fall, but Daniel points to something greater, a kingdom that does not end. Let me slow down for a moment, because this matters. Anyone can make a general prediction, but Daniel gives specific sequences, specific kingdoms, specific outcomes, and history follows that pattern. This is not coincidence. This is divine authorship. Daniel didn't just understand prophecy, he lived faithfully. A law was passed. No one could pray to anyone except the king, Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel had a choice: compromise or remain faithful. He chose faithfulness. He continued to pray, and he was thrown into the lion's den. But God shut the mouths of the lions, and Daniel was delivered. This is not just a story. It's a model for how to live when the culture turns against truth. We are living in a time of global uncertainty, shift in power, cultural confusion, and many people are asking, what is happening? Daniel gives us clarity. Earthly systems are temporary. God's kingdom is eternal. And understanding that changes how we see everything. Daniel had discernment. He wasn't shaken by events. He understood them. He saw history through God's perspective. And that's what believers need today. Not fear, not confusion, discernment. In this channel, we focus on helping you understand the times we're living in through Scripture. That means looking at prophecy, understanding the culture around us, and learning how to live with faith and preparation. And in this series, we're going to go deep into the book of Daniel. Because Daniel doesn't just explain the past, it helps us understand what's happening right now and what's coming next. Matthew 26:41 tells us to watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. Watch. Stay aware. Pray. Stay connected to God. Because understanding prophecy is not about fear. It's about preparation. If you want to understand the times we're living in through Scripture, subscribe to Discern the Times. And next, we'll talk about what Jesus really meant when he says wars and rumors of wars. And remember, watch and pray.